Good day, brethren. The good captain here from CapnsKustomWorks. And I wanted to have a very special episode with you guys today, I guess. Not that it means it'll end with me in tears, although it might. Who knows? I can't say. I wanted to give a little bit of a prequel, if you will, to a new series that I'm going to be starting out here, which I'm going to call Liquid Considerations. And if you can't guess what that is about, some of you may know I already have my beer reviews series. Liquid Considerations isn't about the booze. It's actually about vaping, and it's my reviews of some liquids and possibly some other vaping products. Who knows? And I feel like I needed to, I guess, come clean in a sense, although that might be the wrong terminology, but I've given some hints at my vaping in the past on this channel. If you know me, then you probably already know that I do enjoy using my vape from time to time. But I had one video, the first video in my series of Captain Uses Tools Wrong, which I hope to continue adding to, although beer reviews kind of got taken off, so I followed the direction, the inspiration led me at the time. But in the first video in Captain Uses Tools Wrong, I discussed making a pipe stem for what had been for quite a while my favorite vape, and more on that later. It's not my favorite vape anymore, but I discussed that a little, and I kind of gave a little bit of overview, but I didn't go into real depth. So there's this campaign, this whyIvape, #whyIvape, if you will, campaign I was seeing a little bit about. And I thought, it's a good thing to do, to explain one's thoughts on things. I mean, that's what I love to do in a lot of my videos, talk about my thoughts and opinions and why I do things. So I wanted to be open and honest, because I enjoy being an open, honest person in general, and talk about vaping a little bit, especially because in some instances in the past when I've received a little pushback, and that makes me a little less than comfortable, especially when I get a little pushback from people that don't know my situation. And it's funny, because in my situation I kind of feel like maybe their pushback is more justified than in other people's situations, but the fact is that they don't know. And so my story is this. I'm one of those people the politicians warn you about. I'm a non-smoker who loves to vape. I can't help that. It's great. Now, little caveat there. I had smoked in the past. I used to smoke. I guess I started with cigars essentially, and grew to smoking a pipe now and again, and which is something I never intended to do as the child of a constant smoker who, of course, swore growing up around that smoking was not a thing I was going to do. I found myself smoking a little bit for pleasure, which I do not think is a bad thing necessarily. If you want to have a nice pipe now and again, if you want to enjoy a nice cigar, then who am I to stand in your way? I say as long as you're being responsible, then I'm all in favor of you doing as you wish with your life. However, I found myself in the position of a high stress at times and outdoor field of employment, and being around other people who smoked cigarettes, and some of them quite frequently, I slowly evolved into someone who found themselves smoking cigarettes, which was never my intention. And I did smoke cigarettes for a while, not the longest time compared to most, but a little while, and I did it mainly due to stress and the need for, stress relief, which I think is a reason behind a lot of people smoking. Now, thankfully, I was able to quit of my own accord. I did, however, wish to continue enjoying an occasional pipe or cigar, but after I quit smoking cigarettes, I found that I was unable to, because I then discovered that getting back to that nicotine now and again made me feel absolutely terrible. So it's something that I couldn't do, which was saddening at times. It's not like I needed it. It's not like I had a craving for it. I wasn't one of those people who said, I can't stop smoking, I need something. But I did find myself maybe compensating in the stress relief department in different ways. You know, I might be snacking more. I've always someone who enjoyed having a beverage on hand, always. And it's important to ensure that it's, you know, a healthy beverage, because I basically cut myself off from carbonated drinks, by and large, unhealthy, you know, soft drinks, because if they were around, that was a great stress reliever. Have something sugary with a nice little hit of caffeine. And I used to drink Jolt Cola by by the sixer, which is, hey, I'd still love a Jolt. If somebody handed me a Jolt Cola today, I'd probably be like, great. And I'd probably feel that way for the first, you know, half a can, and by the time I got to the bottom, I'd be like, why am I drinking a can of syrup? But I'm sure there's still a weak spot in my heart for it. If it was readily available where I was, I might enjoy one now and again. I love a good, high-quality root beer now and again. But there's a difference between having a good, high-quality root beer and sitting down and drinking your 17 cents a can generic store soda by the case. There's levels. Just like with smoking. You know, if you can enjoy a nice pipe every now and again and you're good with it, then that's fine. If you're smoking cigarettes from the time you roll out of bed in the morning to hopefully you don't fall asleep with one still burning in your mouth, then you've got a problem. Much like I discussed in my beer reviews video, if you can't drink responsibly, you shouldn't be drinking. If you can't have tobacco responsibly, you shouldn't be having tobacco. It's all the same sort of thing. Now, fast forward to the present day, where or the recent past, I guess, I still never felt like, oh, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette. But I missed my occasional pipe, my occasional cigar. I used to love to smoke my hookah. I have not found a nicotine-free shisha for my hookah that I really find that much satisfaction in. There's always something, this doesn't taste that good, or this doesn't produce, you know, a nice, not a smoke, because a hookah is much more like vaporizing than smoking, but, you know, I haven't found something to substitute that I've been real pleased with in that. So, you know, once in a while I'd say, man, it'd be really, you know, I might like it. I might like to have a nice cigar, but I'm going to feel bad, so I won't do it. Well, my wife, after many, many, many years, took to using a vaporizer to try to quit smoking. She had attempted to quit smoking unsuccessfully for many, many years. She started off, in fact, with this tiny little EVOD right here, Kangaroo EVOD. Much more expensive at the time she purchased it. You can get these for next to nothing nowadays. And it's, you know, it does something. It's like a 1.8 ohm vape with a teeny tiny battery. You know, maybe, but it didn't work for her. She set it aside, discarded it, said this isn't helping. Eventually, she got handed down by her sister a much more substantial vape, which I will now inset a photograph of. Added bonus, it makes you look like a pretty princess. Huh? Pretty nice. But that thing started to work. I mean, it was the same, you know, as using, you know, Kanger coils on a, that one's not a Pro Tank in the picture, but one of the ones she was using was, you know, nothing real fancy, but a little more power, a little more satisfying, and my wife began to be able to stop smoking. I was thrilled. She passed me down her little tiny EVOD. Said, you know, you miss a cigar now and again, maybe try this. I was having a particularly stressful time at work. I was trying not to be snacking all day. I was making sure not to bring snacks to work with me, bring plenty of beverages, just to try and keep my stress levels down. So I said, all right. So I picked it up, used it for a little while. I said, yeah, this is a little something to give me an excuse to calm down now and again throughout the day. You know, I can take a break, shut off what I'm doing, and say, I'm just going to kick back for a minute and puff on this. And you know what? Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And that suited my purposes at the time. Well, I'm a bit of a geek. You might have noticed. Simple is never good enough for me. My wife progressed onward and upward in her vaping technology, as did I. She passed down to me that pink Z-Max that her sister gave her, which I've since passed back because she became interested in it again, and that's hence the photograph that I showed. We'll show it again. Nice. I got this thing. It's a weird little hand-built, somebody made this. It's got a Sigelli Z-Max chip in it, little regulated unit. Right now I have a Nautilus tank on it, which is great. Aspire makes a great tank. And, you know, it's cool. Not bad. You know, again, nothing too fancy. But little more power to it. Not right there. It's been sitting here for a while cold, so it's going to take it a couple seconds to crank up. But I eventually purchased myself the piece I wanted, my now defunct Smoke Tech Guardian 2 pipe mod, which I'm very sad about. The fact that it's not working. This is the thing that I was eyeing up that I wanted. I said, I miss a pipe. This is what I want. And if you watched me build this drip tip for it out of a pipe stem I got from, you know, a corner tobacconist, then, you know, it's still force of habit. I want to push the button when I pop it in my mouth, you know. But it's satisfying. It satisfied me. And then I received a hand-me-down mech mod. A lot of fun getting into sub-ohm vaping. A lot more satisfying. Mech mods can be dangerous if you're not careful with them or if you don't know what you're doing. So by all means, don't do stupid things, but I think I've been pretty good with it so far. Now that is a little more satisfying. Nice big clouds. That's what everybody loves. Now through this all, here's the interesting part. I have been vaping zero nicotine liquids this entire time. Vaping didn't make me want to smoke. Vaping didn't make me need nicotine or want nicotine, because I don't. I'm very careful with the occasional slip-ups when somebody recommends something that I don't realize that might have a little nicotine. So yeah, I've tasted some juices with nicotine here and there, but by and large, I'm a zero nicotine vapor because I don't want nicotine. I don't need nicotine. I'm not addicted to nicotine, but I like having something to relax with. And that's why I vape. So I'm pleased to be able to share a little bit of my story with you guys. And if anybody else has some comments they want to add to that, then I'm all for it. If you think vaping might be a viable alternative to smoking for you, if you've been looking for means to quit smoking, might be something worth checking out. Like my wife, you can start with a full-on nicotine level like you would with your regular cigarettes and slowly pare it down. She's been doing great. You could be too. If you just want something to relax with and you think you could give up the nicotine easily, or if you don't use nicotine right now at all, if you're not a smoker but you just think that looks fun, well, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but regardless of what some folks might tell you, there's really not a lot of danger to your health or person. Like I just said, using unregulated mods where it's just a battery strapped onto wires, yeah, playing with electricity can be dangerous if you're not careful with it. You know, if you get something that's got a chip and a button on it, it's almost guaranteed to not fail on you, so you don't have to worry about that. The contents of vaping is a hotly debated topic, and one of the things I'd gotten a lot of that pushback that I'd mentioned. There's very little to worry about with that. There's vegetable glycerin, perfectly safe for human consumption. It's a natural moisturizer. Smoking tobacco ruins your lungs, dries them out. A lot of people start vaping and they say, oh, I feel like I'm coughing up stuff. It's because your lungs realize there's junk in there faster than they would have if you just stopped smoking cold turkey. It would still take your lungs a while to accommodate that again. You start vaping, you get moisturization in your lungs, and your lungs say, oh geez, there's some bad stuff left in here, let's get it out. Vegetable glycerin will not hurt you, as long as you're not doing stupid things with it. There is propylene glycol in the vast majority of e-liquids. It's medically used for inhalation. I can't guarantee its safety. No, I'm not a doctor. But you know what? My youngest kid's an asthmatic. He's inhaled a lot of propylene glycol in his day because his asthma used to be a lot worse. And he was using a nebulizer machine, inhaling medications with propylene glycol a lot. He seems okay. It's medically used as a carrier for other medicines and as an antiseptic agent. Some people are a little sensitive to it. I happen to be one of those people. 50-50 liquids, 50% glycerin, 50% glycol. They start to make me feel a little irritated, a little puffy in the eyes and sinuses. You know, not my face is blowing up, I'm having a reaction, but just stuff's a little harsh. That's why I don't use liquids with that much glycol. I use liquids with very little, if any, glycol. Other than that, there's flavor, hopefully natural if you're getting them from a good, reputable company. And there may or may not be nicotine. It's not in mine. Some of my liquids are absolutely nothing but glycerin and flavor. That won't hurt you. There's more in breakfast cereal to hurt you than in that. So, hopefully this can explain some things to people. Hopefully people will get to maybe appreciate a different side, different perspective than they might have had. Like I said at the beginning, I don't want to ever feel like there's something that I can't speak my mind on. So that had a lot to do with this too. So again, please share your thoughts. Let's be positive and uplifting for everyone. I'm here to be supportive to folks, and you know, if we can help engender a community of other supportive folks, then that's wonderful. And like the video if you want. Comment on it by all means. Subscribe if you're really compelled to. I don't know if you should, but give it a shot. Check out some of my upcoming juice reviews. I wanted to get this posted before I posted any of my juice reviews. I have several filmed already. We're going to keep doing those. Beer reviews is going to keep going on. I'm going to keep reviewing some fine, hopefully fine, beers. They've all been pretty decent so far. And Captain Uses Tools Wrong is going to keep going on. Some more of my art projects showing a little peek at my artistic process. Those are going to go on. More of my music, especially some of my handmade instruments. We're going to keep all this going, and if you want to be around for it, then I would appreciate the heck out of it. So thanks so much for sharing your time with me, and we'll speak to you all again in the real near future, whether you like it or not. Much love.